Yeah, new Beat DJ version. Let's go. Super excited about this update because there's like so many interesting rhythm features now, and a couple other things that people were asking for. It was an unexpectedly large update with a lot of cool stuff. So let's just dive into what's changed and what's all the new capabilities. One of the first things is this little tip box. If you run tip and choose show, now this will explain the commands as you type them. And I really made this for tutorials so that like if I'm demonstrating, I can just have this up all the time. But you could also use it to help yourself understand the app better. So whenever I enter a command, you can see that it just changes and shows what command I entered, and then the description for the command. It also shows you like what arguments you've used. So right now I'm adjusting the background transparency of the sounds. You can see that the object I chose is sounds, and the transparency I set to 7. So that's one of the first cool things. But let's check the change log here. So if you go to our website, to the BeatDJ download page, you can always see what's new in this change log. So improvements to multiplayer. If you didn't know, we have a multiplayer now. You can use the room command to create a room, list the available rooms. So there's no rooms available right now. It's not a big surprise. You could create one, join, leave, delete, and that will basically, what you'll do is create a room and then share your room code with your friend or whatever, and you guys can jump on a Zoom call and control whoever starts the room will have their computer controlled by the people who join. So there's no way to share samples or anything yet, but you can basically like send commands to your friend's computer, which is pretty fun. I think there's a lot of like, it's just fun to like hang out and jam. And eventually, you know, if it becomes more of a popular feature, then I'll add more support for like sending over audio files and stuff. So someone mentioned that the visualizer, this VIP command, which stands for Viz Poly, as you can see there. I gotta play some audio so you can see it. So this little visualizer here, if you run VIP, it will just select different visualizers. We only have 3 right now. You can also search for one. And if you use the file command, you can actually take a look at the visualizers in the visualizers folder in Viz Poly. These are the 3 we have right now. You can actually create your own C# scripts if you write code. So you could just duplicate one of these and write your own script to make your own visuals. And I'll be adding more, and those will just come. They'll just be automatically updated in the app without you having to actually update the app. They'll just download from our database the same way the generators work. Let's see, improved tonic command for converting to BPM. Yeah, so there was like this tonic command you can use to like set your the tonic of your scale. It was causing the BPMs to be too high because BeatDJ syncs the BPM and the tonic frequency always. So I fixed that, so now it does reasonable BPMs. As you can see, 103 is decent. Output invert command. Oh, so this is like, if you're performing live, you can run output invert and it will actually swap your headphone channel and your speaker channel without you having to change your cables. So if you like rig something up wrong, you're like, oh shoot, the sound's actually coming out of my my speakers when it should be coming out of my headphones, you can just run output invert and it will swap those channels. Oh, I added a cue command. So this is like if you're performing live, you can preview, well, you can basically hear a copy of what's being played on the speakers in your headphones. Someone asked me to make this command, and shout out to Quadratic Spheres. You should check him out on YouTube. I'll link his channel in the description if I remember. I'll try to remember. And so the cue is kind of like DJing. You can change the cue volume of all the sounds. The only thing about this command is I think it might have some performance overhead because basically I had to duplicate the sounds. So just keep in mind to use it sparingly, or just test it out before you do a real performance with it. So I can show you how that works. Let's say I move these sounds into the audience by using the move command, and you can see they're up here in the speaker channels now, and I want to hear them in my headphones also. So what I could do is do all cue and just set the cue volume to 9. And now if I play the sound, it only works when you're in quad channel mode. I'm in stereo right now, but if I was in quad for live performance, then it would basically create a duplicate of the audio that's out on the speakers and play it in my headphones. And then if you ever want to turn it off, you just set the volume to 0. And of course you can do any number from 0 to 9 for volume. Improved log batching. That's not really something we need to go over. Oh yeah, multi-word search. So you can now do like for precision splitter, you can now pass in multiple keywords. That did work. It found a hat, but it did have kick in the name also for some reason. I would recommend not doing more than like 2 keywords usually for your searches, unless you have like a super small source library. But the larger your source library is, the longer it's going to take to search through everything. So try not to use too many keywords, but 2 is totally fine. Let's see, what's next? Oh, this is kind of cool. I forgot I did this. So let me see if I have an audio file somewhere. If I go to my samples, if I copy the file path of an audio file, now you can actually enter file paths directly for the splitter command and the precision splitter command. If you want a specific sound, so you don't have to sit there and search for it. Depends what workflow you prefer, but if you just want a specific sound, you can just do that. Drop in the file path. Oh, I had an error on compressing that file. Interesting. I didn't realize that there's like there's actually compressed waves. They're There's a couple different types of wave files, but they all work in Beat DJ unless you have an error like this, but usually you shouldn't have an error. So that time it worked. But yeah, basically you can enter file paths like that for splitter and precision splitter. Removed octave from melody command. So this is kind of a big change. Oh boy, it doesn't like that one. I hope it's not going to keep searching for that the whole time. That's weird. Oh, I think it's fine. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, removed octave from the melody command. Okay, I'm gonna have to restart Beat DJ real quick. That's a bug that it keeps searching. Okay. Removed octave from the melody command. So you used to be able to do, like say you had like a sound, you could change the melody and then, let me turn on optional arguments. Change the melody and then, you know, you would select your melody and then it would ask you for the octave. That got kind of annoying when it's like you don't want to change the octave and the melody at the same time, you just want to change the melody. So I just removed that, and you can use the command separately now. So if you want to change melody and octave at the same time, you would just do like melody P for pattern or whatever you want to choose, and then you set your octave like that. So you can just do a semicolon, which basically means you're going to run two commands. So these are separate commands, but I wrote them in one line, and the semicolon just separates them. Spacing doesn't matter here, but it kind of looks nicer with a space. And then when I hit enter, now you can, you know, manipulate the melody and the octave independently. Units is a new thing. You can set your units to, if I run units or unit, you can see that I can choose any of these units, and then that will affect the display of a lot of the interface. The clock down here changes. These numbers up here change to show those units. These numbers on the instruments or the sounds themselves don't actually change. That's always in 16th notes. But the span does. So if I do units, you can see it shows the span in the units you select, which is useful. Improved glitch command. The glitch command, if you don't know about it, can be handy. So we can create a little hi-hat loop to demonstrate. So the hi-hat loop sounds like this now. Now if I run the GLI, which stands for glitch, and I'll do a glitch probability of 9, which means it's every time after the sound plays, every time it's gonna shuffle the chops around. So glitch just runs the shuffle command under the hood, and it does it every time the sound runs, and it runs shuffle 5, which would be like a little bit over 50%. 5 out of 9 probability that it's gonna shuffle. So, or that the note that the chops will be on. Sorry, 5 out of 9 probability that the chops will be on, and it's gonna switch the order up. So let's hear how that sounds. So you can see it's pretty reliably like changing those notes every time, and before there was a glitch that was basically causing it to fail to do that in some cases, but now that's fixed. Improved documentation. Yeah, in general there's been some improvements with the documentation, and that's just the help file. If you run help, it's this all commands file. Improved command input. That's so vague. Everyone makes fun of me for how I say vague. Is it vag? I don't know. Flag, bag. I'm from Montana, okay? I don't know how to talk. Improved source command. Oh, source command. There is a new option now. You can select the downloads folder. I removed the computers folder because that apparently is like a C# thing that like doesn't actually work. It's just still in the API. I don't know, it's weird. But now you can access your downloads folder just by typing downloads, or of course you can enter a full file path here, and that will change where your files are pulled from when you run the splitter and the precision splitter command. Oh, this is fun. So now you can do the minimum loop length used to be 2/16 notes, but now you can do 1/16 note, which is pretty sweet. I'm excited about it. So if I play the kick, you'll hear I can shrink it down to 1/16 note. And of course there was always ways to like create 16th notes, but now there's an extra way to do it, basically. So I can shrink this down, and it even works fine at high tempos. And what's cool about that is there's this new bundle command, which is kind of like a more advanced way to control the loop length. You can actually like create new patterns out of it. So what I can do is like shrink this kick down to 1, and then I could like bundle 16 of them together. See how it basically put that into 4 chunks, or 1 chunk of 16. It's similar to the pattern command where you would do like 1, 16, 1 to create a new pattern, but it's just faster and you can do more interesting stuff with it. So now, like, you know, let's say I'll go back to my original kick that was just length 1 kick. Let's say I want to create a rising effect for this entire phrase. What I can do is just bundle 64, and then I can change the pitch to ascending. It'll sound like this. So there's some really cool stuff you can do there. And I'll set the pitch back to 0, and then I'll show you another thing. Another new, well, I don't know if I should get into this quite yet. Let's talk a bit more about the bundle command, and then I'll explain more. So let's go back to the melody ascending. So that's cool, but let's say I only want the first 32 notes, then I could just bundle 32, and it creates this new loop of 32 But then let's say I want to, I don't know, I'm trying to think of how I can, what else I could do here. I could shuffle it. Let's try another example maybe. So let's bundle 16. So now I have a loop of 4 kicks. You can see these light blocks, light colored blocks where it's like 4 notes, you know? You can think of that as your whole loop. And I can even loop it to demonstrate better. So I'll loop from phrase 0 to 0.25 phrases. So that's our whole loop right now that we're working with. That's what this sound is. It's just this, but it repeats, you know? So now I can manipulate this. Or, you know, I could rebundle it at a different size. So now if I change my loop to show the full length, oops, I meant to bundle it 32. Now you can see there's no space here because now the entire loop is this long. And I can set my loop to show that. So now that's the full length. And of course on the timeline it just keeps going, it just keeps repeating, but that's what we're working with there. And now you can manipulate that however you want. So you can do melody changes, you can do shuffle, you can do volume envelope changes. And that brings me into the next feature, which is the volume envelope. I added support for I added support for oh my god. Let me get, there we go. Bundle. The volume envelope now, instead of only being able to set it as 1 for every single chop, you can apply different envelopes to different chops, the same way that the melody command works, where you can send in different pitches for each chop. You can now do that with volume envelopes. So I could type in my own like this, and that will do a repeating pattern. So every 3 chops it will sound like that. So you can see this one's shorter, this one's a bit longer because the volume's going from 9 to 0 to 0. Next one's going from 9 to 0. Next one's going from 0 to 9, so you can see it starts lower. That it fades up. Turn my loop off, and you can there's a bunch of options for the volume envelope. You can do ascending, so basically it's going to start short and get longer as you go up. You can do descending, and then you can do random, which is a little crazy, or you can do pattern, which is a bit more musical. And you can just keep running pattern to get different variations. So this can be really handy for getting like sort of natural sounding hi-hat loops. Like you can take a one shot like this, right, and just create, bundle it, and then do volume envelope pattern on it, and that part automatically like brings it to life. You flip through till you find one you like. That already sounds like a good techno loop. So I'm really loving that command. Next thing I should go over is the roll command, which is super fun. And surprisingly, you can do so much with like rolling sounds that I didn't even think about. But like, if you just keep on letting the roll, you know, if you do over like 64 rolls in one chop, it basically turns into an oscillator, which is cool. So let's play around with that command. And the roll command, you can also send in multiple numbers. So I could do like, you know, like that, which will determine how many rolls per chop. Let's just do 2 first to demonstrate. So now I have 30-second notes basically. You can go even higher. You could do ascending. You could do descending. You could do ascending powers of 2, which basically just like it skips the odd numbers, and well, powers of 2 means like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So your rolls will get really tighter, way tighter faster, basically. You can see it gets so, the rolls get so small that it basically just puts the volume to silent because of the fading. But it has kind of a cool effect to it. The roll also has patterns, so if you do random, it's going to give you like high numbered rolls, which sound kind of glitchy. If you do roll P, it's going to give you a bit more like normal percussive rolls. And it's non-destructive, so you can just set it back to set them all back to 1. The volume envelope, the roll, the melody, pitch, most things are non-destructive. Changing the loop length, like the bundling, is destructive. Pattern is destructive. So there's a few commands, but generally I try to keep everything non-destructive. Which just means you can go back to the previous state. Like, there's no undo currently, but you know, you can, like, if you know what you just did, you can go back. And it's easy to go back because you can just push the up arrow and run your previous command. And I kind of want to just show off the roll command a bit more, because you can do some really interesting stuff. Alright, check this out. And when it gets up to the end of the loop, I can roll it in reverse, which could be really fun for live performance, because you can basically do this little build up and then switch back to 1. Like, see how easy that was to just do a crazy build up? So the rolls are super fun. You can get some interesting things going on there. There's also the reverse command is not new, but I fixed it it was kind of weird. I don't know, I had some problems. But reverse doesn't have a P or a ascending, descending, and pattern options, but you can do random. And it's going to take a while to reset before it gets back. There we go. So, you know, if you just play with the dynamics, the roll, the volume envelope, you can turn one-shots into really interesting patterns. All right. The schedule once command is really cool. So there is a scheduling command still, but it's pretty tedious to use. It has a lot of variables. I still recommend learning it because it's handy for like effects changes and stuff, automations. Ooh, I get some wimpy kicks here. So you could do a like the long way to do a schedule command is the SCH command, and then you can enter what you want to do. So let's say I want to move, or let's say I want to pan this to a random position over one phrase. I could do start time 0. I want to do that every 2 phrases, or let's just do every 1 phrase. And then the probability of running the command would be 9, and then the cancel time would be never 0. So you can see that's a bit tedious to schedule something, and it's cool because it repeats, so you know it's useful. You can see the kick will pan. So it panned for 1 phrase to a random position. But now there's a schedule once command, which is much faster. And really, it has a different use case. It's more for performing live when you want to schedule stuff. This is another shout out to Quadratic Spheres who recommended this. So let's say we're jamming away and we know we want our kick to come in at 2. Let's do 3 phrases so I have some time. So I'll do schedule once. I'm going to move kick, and I want to do it at 3 phrases. So you can see when I get to 3 phrases, the kick will move. Oh, I forgot. Because I'm in, I have my optional arguments turned on. So I need to type out the whole thing. So you can see our previous schedule is still running. Let's try this again. So I'm going to schedule this to change at phrase 8. So schedule once, move 8. Sorry, I'm goofing it. I need to turn these off, not on. There we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Schedule once. I want the move command, and I want to do it on phrase 2. Let's see. Okay, here it comes. There we go. Now you can see that it's only going to do it once, so if I start from play, it's not going to do it again. That took a little bit for it to move, but you could schedule it faster. You could be more precise, so you could do like schedule once. I'm going to put this in backticks because it's a single argument. So you could do schedule once, kick, move to the speakers in 0 seconds. And I want to do that on phrase 1. Now you'll see if I play it from the beginning, I scheduled it. If I play it from the beginning, it'll do that. So essentially you can use this to schedule things to move. You could use it to schedule any command. Let's say you want to change the pitch of the kick on phrase 8. So I'll do command to run, pitch, let's do kick pitch 2, transition time 1 phrase on 8 phrases.
Well, it works.
Well, it works. Cool. So that's the schedule once command. Improving melody command. Oh yeah, so the melody now, it used to be, if you did ascending, the pitches would reset. Once they got to the top of the scale, it would reset to 0. Now it just goes above the scale. It just repeats the scale up into higher octaves. Oh, and I need to bundle this to work on the chops. Otherwise, you're just trying to, if you're just editing, like if I had a loop length of 1, oops, I totally messed that up. If I had a loop length of 1, and I do a melody change on it, it's only going to affect, sorry, loop length, I have a loop length of 4 in this kick. If I do a melody change, it's only going to affect that one kick, because there's not multiple chops to work with. You have to have a bundle or a longer loop to be able to do an actual melody. So now I could do an ascending melody on this. I could do ascending roll and ascending volume envelope. Could get crazy. Crazy build up. Alright. Yeah, the exports now have a bit higher quality. There was kind of a bug that was causing pitch shifted exports to sound low quality. That's fixed. Timeline rendering is a bit better. I'm still noticing some bugs with it a bit, but like it's a lot better than it was. Be thankful there is a timeline, because once there was no timeline, and it was very confusing for some people. But now there is, and it's pretty good. Like there's a max zoom out, which sucks, but and a max zoom in, but it's decent. It'll get better. Allowing pitch and octave choice when using generators. Oh yeah, so this is sweet, because I noticed with the generators I was like, well, I like using them, but I don't like when I have to pitch shift them and then it changes the length of them, because you're basically working with them as a sample. But now when you use them, you can specify how long you want them to be. So, or specify, sorry, let me, optional arguments on, there we go. Let's walk through this. So I can now choose like a sine wave, and the thing too is it will now select, if you type in the exact file name like sine wave, it's going to grab the sine wave file. It's only going to search if it doesn't find an exact match. So I'm going to set my scale pitch number to 0, which is this frequency right here, this tonic, which is 320, or some octave of 320. I'll set my octave to 0, and then I'll set the length to 64. So now we have a sine wave for 64 16th notes. Pretty cool. And we could even start to kind of build a chord now, because we can just add in some more ratios. Set an index to 0. We could add in 1 4. Could even go up an octave. We'll go to 0, up 1 octave. Turn the volume down a bit. So now I have a sine wave chord. Could do some random volume envelope changes, some random rolling, maybe. I'll just do like, but it's nice being able to have that option to like just enter which pitch you want, basically, instead of having to do a melody, use the melody command afterwards. Because I could still use the melody command on these, but you'll see it will change the, let me set the volume envelope back so you can see the end of the notes. It changes the size of the pitch because it's treating it as a sample versus before we generated it. Interesting. I need to double check how that works. Added some protection against the playback, so yeah, basically if you type some gibberish and then type play, why is it printing that out? I don't know. Anyways, if you type some gibberish and you accidentally type P, it will not reset the song now. You know, in case you're performing live, it's harder to screw something up now. And the dynamics command, you used to be able to type it like DY, but I found often I would be like doing all DY, be typing that super fast and accidentally put a space here and just like delete all my sounds. So I changed it so you have to type it out as DYN, so it's a little bit more safe. And I added these little cute guys to the tip box when you hit cancel. Well, that's it, folks. That's everything. This new update is sweet, especially the roll command and the volume envelope changes. You can do some really fun stuff. Let me know what you want for the next video, like any tips or tricks, like I'll just jump on here and make a video about whatever you want, so let me know. Thanks for watching.